obviously, and Alfred, and on the villain side, the Joker and the Riddler. Do you have a Damien story inside you?
I don't. He asked if I have a Damien story. I'll tell you exactly why. I cannot write that character. I've tried. And the reason is, my son is 10. My son is 8. And Damien is 10. And I just cannot wrap my mind around watching my son get punched next to me on the street, fighting, no matter what I do in that book. I can't write him. It's a flaw of mine. I love reading about him. I love reading Pete's version of Grant, but he is just a character that I hate Bruce for in a way that I can't. I just can't. I can't make that leap. Somehow it's my own shortcoming as a writer, but I cannot accept that Bruce would allow that in some way. My version of him, even though I technically play along with it and have Damien, he's just not a character I can write effectively because I really disagree deeply with Bruce doing that, and it troubles me. I cannot, when you see how little an 8-year-old is or a 10-year-old and you think about it, I know it's ridiculous because it's like Hit Girl or I know it's comics and he was an assassin and he's this, but I just can't, I cannot suspend my disbelief beyond it as much as I hate saying it because it's embarrassing honestly because it's a failure of imagination, but I see my own kid and I can't do it. So Damien's just not my bag.
And in Witches, at the end you said that it's kind of an autobiographical look at you and your fears as a father. And I have only a 3-year-old, but when I read it and I see the dad in Sailor and how he's trying to get her over her fears, it really speaks a lot to me. And you have to let kids grow, so you have to let them scrape your knees, but it really breaks my heart when she does. And I was just curious, how did you allow yourself to come to a place to be vulnerable like that, to put it out there?
It was actually kind of hard. I mean, when I started Witches, I knew it was going to be really dark, but then I saw how dark I was going to go with the stuff that was more personal about it. I had a lot of trouble when I first became a dad, and I was very, there's a lot I'm really proud of, and then there's moments I'm really not proud of where I was acting out against the responsibilities of it and stuff like that, and I feel like I wasn't the best husband or dad, and I've talked to a lot of my friends, and what I realized over time was that those feelings, not what you do, how you act matters, but those feelings are more common than I thought about the tremendous fear of all of it, and the, you don't think about those things before, and I called Jock, honestly. I spoke to him a lot, that's one of the things, and he's the best, dude. Jock is the best. He also is the best smelling man in all of comics. He has some magical cologne that everybody talks about, where you're like, what is that cologne? And he never said it, and he won't tell me, but it's amazingly, it's like amazingly hypnotic and soothing. But anyway, he's like a great, big gentleman, and I would call him up and just say, listen, I think this might be getting a little too personal, and he's like, if you change that, I don't want to do the book. And I was just like, all right, because we went into it together, and I think we have a lot of similar experiences with stuff, and he kept me really honest with it, and I appreciate that. And the second arc is similarly honest. We're working on it, and it largely focuses on Sailor having moved on, and she works with the group that kind of hunts witches, and she's living in the desert in the Southwest where there's no trees anywhere. And then she starts to believe in some way that they might be keeping Charlie alive in some terrible way. And it's about letting go of your parents the same way the first. Because look, all of us, when you're a teenager, you're a kid, you're growing up, you have to separate from your folks. Or you're my age and your parents are getting older, and you worry about when they're not going to be there. And it's a lot about those things. So
we are actually 5 minutes over.
Oh, I didn't realize. I am so sorry. Well, thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it.